Okay, let's begin the demonstration of enrollment into either Mymathlab for the MA2000 Quantitative Reasoning course or MyStatLab into MA3000 Business Statistics course. So we're going to cover what is required of you as the student in terms of what you're going to use Mymathlab and MyStatLab for, as well as the requirements of purchasing this required component for the course. So for MA2000, you're going to be utilizing something called Mymathlab. You may have used this product, say, in a CS1301 or maybe another MyLab component course. And then if you're in MA3000, it's a very similar title, MyStatLab, that has a very similar interface. But for Mymathlab or MyStatLab, the MML is the abbreviation for Mymathlab, MSL being the abbreviation for MyStatLab. This is where you're going to complete all of your homeworks, your quizzes, as well as the midterm and final exam for each of your respective courses. So this is where you're going to be doing the bulk of your work outside of the discussion forums for the class. Will be where you're going to be doing the majority of the work for your respective either MA2000 or MA3000 class. Now, the purchase of Mymathlab or MyStatLab is required for your particular class. For MA2000, the access code for Mymathlab, or MA3000, the MyStatLab. Having a hard copy of the respective textbook really will not do you a bit of good, because by purchasing the access code for either Mymathlab or MyStatLab gives you a full ebook inside of the MyLab product to utilize. So getting a hard copy of the book really is not going to do you a bit of good for this class. And from the NAU bookstore, they don't even offer it as an option. If you get it from somebody in terms of a hard copy of the book, it's a good resource, but it really is not going to help you in terms of meeting the objectives, the assignments, or the milestones of the course. So you will need to purchase either the access to Mymathlab for MA2000 or MyStatLab for MA3000. Now, purchasing it through NAU's bookstore, either getting it financial aid, your own funds, whatever the case may be, is approximately $75 for the access to the particular class. Now, what I do want you to keep in mind is that access for roughly the $75 is a one-time deal for the class. So every time you take the class, it's $75. So you just say hypothetically, you're retaking the class, you will need to purchase that access every time you take the course. Hopefully for your MA2000 or the MA3000, you only have to take it once. But I always like to bring that to everybody's attention, is that access that you are going to purchase is for one class for that 11 weeks that you take that respective course. So if for some reason you have to repeat the course, you would have to purchase that access again. So I always like to bring that to everybody's attention in terms of the way that it is set up. So every time you do take a course, so if you take MA2000 once, it's $75 for that class. Once you take MA3000 or the business stats course, it's $75 approximately for each class. So regardless of the amount of times you take it, it is a $75 charge approximately to have access to the Mymathlab or the MyStatLab product. Now, you'll want to take care of this as soon as possible. Late assignment policy does not extend past that. Now, you're going to see later on in the presentation in my courses, you do have the full 11 weeks to complete all of your homeworks and your quizzes. The only thing that is not accepted late in my classes are the discussion forums. Discussion forums have to be done in the week they are assigned if they are a graded format. So, and that's in a different presentation, but initial posts have to be done by Thursday, up to 2 or more quality responses by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Mountain Standard Time or Mountain Daylight Time, depending on what time of the year we're at. But you do have the full 11 weeks, but you need to take care of the purchase of that access code now. Once week 11 rolls around and you do not have everything done, there are no extensions incompletes as a result of not having that. I am more than flexible in terms of allowing you that duration of the full 11 weeks to get everything done. However, you do have to have everything done, homework, quizzes, midterm, final exam, all of that done during the 11 weeks during the class. Now, you do have the option to opting out of purchasing the access code from the bookstore. But I'm going to tell you now that the way that NAU has this set up is the recommended way to do that in terms of the $75 per course. If you purchase the access code via a third party, such as Half.com, eBay, Amazon, etc., you, the student, assumes all risk on that access code. Some have gotten it for cheaper and it's worked, some haven't. However, in most circumstances, when you purchase an access code from a third-party vendor and it doesn't work, it's not a refundable item. And it is not instructor/NAU's responsibility if you purchase it from a third party and it doesn't work in terms of getting any refund or coming back and saying to the instructor, hey, I got a code that didn't work. That is at your own risk. That's why I'm trying to forewarn you now. From day one of the class, I don't recommend going with a third party. Go through the bookstore, get the code. Once you purchase it, they typically send you an email with the access code in it, so it isn't a matter that you have to wait for it to be shipped to you. So it's pretty automated once you've actually made that order through the bookstore, that you've received that, and then you are good to go with that. So again, if you get it through a third party and it works, great. If it doesn't work, it's at your own risk. So I try to tell students as much as possible, avoid getting it from a third party. You may think you're saving 10, 15 bucks on the access code, but if it doesn't work, you are, it is at your own risk, and you're going to have to purchase the code anyway from the bookstore. So might as well just get it through the bookstore and be done with it. Now, if you are waiting on financial aid or whatever the case may be, as part of the enrollment process, you do have up to 2 weeks to obtain temporary access. However, once that 2 weeks are up, you can't go and re-enroll again. So in other words, you get 2 weeks to basically to resolve any financial aid, financial resource issues that you've got. But after the first 2 weeks are up, you do not have access to MyStatLab if you're on temporary access. Odds are, if you're going through the bookstore and you get it, it's pretty seamless as far as the process. But you cannot enroll more than one time into Mymathlab or MyStatLab for the MA2000 or MA3000 class. So if by some miracle you're able to enroll twice, I delete any supplemental accounts that are created. So it's not 2 weeks, you get access, and then I go, okay, I'll set up another account, because you're going to see inside the class portal is the way that you're going to have to register into Mymathlab or MyStatLab, and it doesn't allow you to enroll multiple times. You only can enroll once, get that connected, and if you choose temporary access, you only get the 2 weeks of temporary access. So I do like to bring that to everybody's attention from day one. Now, you may have had in a previous course the instructor coming out and saying, okay, use this access code to go and enroll into Mymathlab or MyStatLab. You cannot use mymathlab.com and mystatlab.com to enroll into Mymathlab or MyStatLab. If you come to me and say, hey, what's the access code to get into Mymathlab and MyStatLab, I'm going to refer you back to this video where I show you what needs to be done to enroll into Mymathlab or MyStatLab. So you have to use the D2L class portal, and I will show examples at the end of this presentation how you get into Mymathlab or MyStatLab. So it'll show you a demonstration on that. There's nothing you need to submit to the instructor in terms of your work completed. So it isn't the case where after you complete homework 1, you don't need to send your instructor an email saying, hey, I completed homework 1. What do I need to do? Don't need screenshots. Don't need any of that. Everything automatically gets updated from Mymathlab or MyStatLab into the D2L gradebook. So the gradebook will automatically reflect your progress inside of Mymathlab or MyStatLab. So do keep that in mind. What I'm going to show later on is demonstration how to get into a homework as well as a quiz inside of Mymathlab or MyStatLab. But to keep in mind, homework assignments are what I refer to as practice until mastery. Practice until mastery means you can do the problem an unlimited amount of times until you get the green check mark on that particular problem. So you can do it if it takes you the first time and you get it right, great, awesome. If it takes you twice, great. If it takes you 10 times, basically the ball is in your court in terms of scoring on the homework. So you have the full 11 weeks starting at 12 a.m. Mountain Standard Time or Mountain Daylight Time on Monday of the week they are assigned, and that is they open week 1 of the class, and then they close Sunday of week 11 of the course. So you have the full 11 weeks. If you want to, in week 1, start on week 2's assignments in terms of the homework and the quizzes, that's great. You can pace yourself through. If week 3 rolls around and you're behind on week 2's assignment, you have the full flexibility of the full 11 weeks to go in and do the homework. But the homework assignments are a limited amount of times. They are practice until mastery. So if you get it wrong, you can go in and out of a homework assignment as much as you want throughout the scope of the 11 weeks while the assignments are open. Now, quizzes are a little bit different. They are a snapshot. Once you open a quiz, you must complete the quiz within the duration that states inside your syllabus. For MA 2000, 2-hour duration on the quizzes. For MA 3000, 4 hours on a quiz. The quizzes remain open from day 1 of the class through Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time or Mountain Standard Time of week 11. So for the full 11 weeks of the course, all of the quizzes stay open. Quizzes are timed. So in other words, you have the 2 hours to complete all of the problems in the quiz. You can go in and out of it, but the clock is continually running. So let's say hypothetically, it's 8 o'clock on a Sunday night during week 1 and you're taking quiz 1. You have up and until the duration of that quiz to complete it. The clock does not stop. So if you open a quiz attempt at 8 p.m. on a Sunday and it's MA 2000, you have until 10 p.m. your time zone to complete that respective quiz. Now, keep in mind, if it's the last day of the course, everything will automatically shut down at 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time. So if you start a quiz at 11 o'clock on Sunday of week 11, you're only going to have an hour to complete it. That's only an issue if it's the very last day of the course. Now, you do get 3 attempts on a quiz, and the best score is recorded to the D2L gradebook. So let's say you get 32 out of 35 on a quiz, and the next one you get a 33 out of 35. The 33 is what is recorded. So it is the best score of up to the 3 attempts. If you're happy with your first score, don't have to take it again, but you have the ability to take that quiz up to 3 times if you choose to do so. All right, now it's time to show you where you access Mymathlab or MyStatLab inside the course. We're going to open up a homework assignment as well as open up a quiz assignment. I'm inside of an MA 2000 quantitative reasoning course, and I'll show the exact same thing for a business stats course coming up here shortly. But the process is going to be the same regardless whether you're in a quantitative reasoning course or a business stat course in terms of the way that you access the MyLab product. So the very first thing you're going to want to do the very first time you're getting ready to enroll is you're going to click on Mymathlab. Once Mymathlab comes up, you're going to look for the link that says Course homework, or quizzes and tests. Usually the easiest one to utilize is course home. This is the way that you enroll into Mymathlab, or similarly to MyStatLab, you're going to click that course home. That's going to trigger you to input the access code as well as input to enroll. This is the only way you can get into Mymathlab for MA2000. Going by mymathlab.com will not work. So you're going to want to click on course home. One other thing while this is showing here as well, the two browsers you want to use for the MyLab as well as D2L is either Chrome or Firefox. I'm currently using Firefox right now. As far as Chrome, it also works. The use of Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, or Safari on the Mac side is not recommended. Either use Chrome or Firefox to get in. So for MA2000, you're going to see a link over here on the left that says assignments. You're going to click that, and then you'll notice all of the assignments from day one of your course is going to be listed there. Now, for my classes, assignments do not open until day one of the course at 12 a.m. Mountain Time. So if you're previewing the course before the start date, it will not actually be available to you. It will open up at 12 a.m. Mountain Time of the very first day of class. So you'll notice in the listings here, you can segment by homework, you can segment by quizzes and tests. I just recommend leaving it as all assignments as it shows. What you're going to want to do here is you're going to click the homework 1 assignment. You're going to click that. You'll be prompted with your 20 questions, and then you'll start out with that corresponding first question here. Now, on this particular problem, I'm going to show an example of getting it right and or getting it wrong and show you how to redo that problem from a homework assignment until you get the question correct. So this one's talking about deductive or inductive reasoning. So let's say I select deductive, I check the answer. Notice I got the problem wrong. And once I do that, notice there is an X there. Remember what I said about homework? You can do the problem an unlimited amount of times until you get it correct. So if I try it again and I select inductive on it, check it, notice if I close out of that, the X became a check mark. So you'll notice at that point that the problem is now marked correct. As you progress through the problems, you'll notice as I close this out that it will save as you go along, the green check mark. So you don't have to worry about clicking a save button. As you progress through the homework, it will save as you go along. So that's how, from the homework perspective, going into that. If I go underneath assignments, notice the quiz. This is going to look a little bit different. Remember what we said earlier, quizzes for quantitative reasoning. You have 120 minutes. You click start the test, and then it'll prompt you with the questions. Let's say that answer is 24. I key that in. I go to the next question, and then I keep progressing on. You can click the down arrow and go through and see which ones you've answered, etc. But that's how you open up a quiz. I'm going to go ahead and force a quiz here. It says, yeah, that you haven't answered the question, but once you click submit, it will then give you the corresponding feedback on that as well. So you can go in and see what's going on relative to the problem. So that's from a quantitative reasoning, how you get into a homework or a quiz. Let me show the exact same thing. Let me close this out here and go into a MyStatLab. It's very similar. You're going to click on MyStatLab. Again, you're going to look at the course home link that's there. And you'll notice once this opens, it's going to be the exact same thing. Slightly different. It's segmented inside of business stats, either by homework and quizzes and tests, or you will have a link over here, depending on what version you're at, that'll just say assignments. But regardless, the homework If you click on homework, quizzes, and tests or an assignment link, you can always toggle that back to all assignments. And then you can click on the homework or the computational quiz that's there. In business stats, they're actually called computational quiz, but it's the exact same thing. You click on the question, you go in and answer the corresponding parts. You still, with homework, can go in and out as much as you want, but a quiz, once you start it, you do have to complete it. Hopefully this was helpful in terms of explaining what's involved with going into Mymathlab, MyStatLab. If there's any questions, feel free to send me an email and I'll do the best that I can to answer it. Thanks.